See? Okay, thank you very much, everybody, for joining us today. My name is Carlos Siqueira. I'm a global product evangelist with Elements Cloud, 5 times Salesforce MVP, and the leader of the Salesforce Architect Group in Tampa, Florida. And I'm extremely delighted to have Suzanne Ferguson, the global lead on the Salesforce CTA certification. So with that said, I'm passing to her, and you folks are in a very good hands.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Carlos. Yes, thank you. I'm seeing some familiar names and some unfamiliar names, so I'm really excited to have the honor to present to you today. My name is Suzanne Ferguson. I am the Global Director for the Architect Program, which includes all the architect certifications, including all the way up to the Certified Technical Architect. So today I'm going to be talking to you about the different program offerings, the different types of architects, and why it's really important to have a variety of different types of architects in the ecosystem today. For those of you, I don't know, I've seen a few names, like I said, that I'm familiar with. A little bit about me. I just hit my 10-year mark with Salesforce, so I'm super excited to be like a COA club member, what we call in the Salesforce ecosystem. 10 years, yes, long time. So I'm dating myself a little bit, but with that, you know, I've gained so much experience in the different roles I've been in to really understand like how we can better offer great resources for you. And that was when I first started, there was no resources. And when I first started this program, there was no pyramid. So I know everyone knows about the architect pyramid. We created that actually about 6 years ago. So I'm excited to kind of talk you through it. And I am definitely can answer any of those burning questions you have that maybe you were wondering why something was like this or was done this way. I think I can help you with that. So I'm based in Nashville, Tennessee, and our team spans all over the US and India. So we are a global team. Several of us participate in the different offerings. So it is not just me doing all of this. It is definitely a team of amazing people that I work with. So I must give kudos to them as well, because that would not be possible just with me alone. All right, and please feel free to, stop me throughout the presentation. I love an interactive session, so definitely, pause me, raise your hand, and I'm happy to answer any questions. All right, I'm going to talk to you a little bit tonight about the value of Salesforce architects and why it's so important. And I'm sure you've heard this from many of Carlos's guests before as well. But then I'll get into some of our technical architect program offerings, our design and build integration solutions, architecting B2C commerce solutions, build your application architect expertise, your system architect expertise, and then preparing for your technical architect credential. Depending on timing, I might touch on the certified technical architect credential. If anyone's interested, I'm happy to do that as well. And we have more coming. So this is just a very small sample of what is going to be coming this year. All right, the value of Salesforce architects. If you're in this group, you know how important Salesforce architects are, but there is so many jobs in the ecosystem now. We have so many customers that need amazing architects to help them with their implementations. This is a huge gap in need. There's a lot of admins, developers, but still we need even more. This is just kind of a snippet of the jobs and the revenue available in each of the regions. But 1.3 million jobs in the world, which is crazy, for 4.2 million globally by 2025. So definitely there is going to be work for everyone. Now, Salesforce architect career, it can take you in many, many different directions. So there's not one type of architect that fits everybody. So depending on your background, depending on where you are in your careers, depending on what company you work with, may, guide you in a different architect direction. So, our careers page has kind of some general information about architects, and then we can get into more specific types of architects. But in general, an architect is a big picture thinker, an in-depth problem solver. So, for example, a customer is going to have a situation. You're going to have to think about not just what the current situation is, but where the customer is for their whole organization, as well as maybe any risks in the future that may happen. So you want to make sure that you're helping them with an implementation that is scalable, repeatable, something that and maintainable, so that they don't have to keep changing it every month, right? It has to be something that will work with their business and grow with their business. So I think of it like a puzzle. You're trying to help them figure out what this puzzle, how it looks, what the solution to this puzzle is. And there's many different ways to solve it. And your job as an architect is to figure out the best way that makes the most sense for the current situation and for their long-term growth as well. The market's need for architects, again, like I said, is huge. We have so many companies looking for architects, qualified architects. I would highly recommend, as you go through your certifications, make sure that you get some hands-on experience. So very important when you're going for any type of career in any of these areas. Customers are looking for people that have that hands-on experience. And so that is really important. If you're just reading about it and not doing it, it's very different. Could be a different situation. You could apply it differently. So definitely take the time and do the hands-on as you go. This is Chris Culkin, our director of Trailhead Sales. And I'm just going to quote him, but architects are so valuable because of the influence, knowledge, and expertise they possess for the Salesforce platform. Salesforce architects are a crucial asset to any company, as they not only create and implement Salesforce strategies and solutions, but they also enable companies to autonomously own them. So having an architect in-house definitely is helpful to know the business inside and out, and for that resource to stay there. All right, so getting into the fun stuff. I hope everyone has seen the architect pyramid on the call. Yes. So we've changed a few things on the pyramid just this past December. And I don't know if everyone remembers, but we changed the naming convention. So there is a whole now track for designer. So we used to have data architect designer, and now you can notice it's just called data architect. Sharing and visibility architect, platform developer 1, platform app builder. So anything that was a designer before now just has the designation of architect. And this can be found in the architect section on our Trailhead site as well. Now, for those of you that are unfamiliar with the pyramid, we built this to help people with stepping stones towards each one of the goals. Prior to this, everything was out there, all the resources were out there, and it was hard to figure out where to start. So with this view, it helps you know which path you can take to get all the way up if you want to certified technical architect. Now, I will preface that with saying that the pyramid it's built with all these building blocks. The top of the pyramid is not for everybody, and that's okay. I really encourage you to have your own path as well, because I'll show you this pyramid and then I'll show you another architect pyramid coming up. And that is a completely different path. So again, don't think of it as if you don't hit the summit of this pyramid that it's a bad thing. It could be that your career or your passion is taking you in a different direction, which is completely fine. So just to go over this really quickly, administrator is, we think it's It would be great if you had an admin certification. It's not required for this path. I would say probably 90% of the people that go down this path do have it. It does give you the basics, and it gives you the basis for, how everything works, but not necessary. When we get into, we split this into two sides, the application side and the system side. Application side, you could strive to be an application architect, and then you would follow this path. In order to get your application or your system, these are actually free, and I will say free certifications. If you get the 4 underneath as the specializations, you automatically will get that 5th one. So what this means is, let's say you have data sharing, platform developer 1, and you're just missing app builder. When you pass your app builder certification, you will automatically be sent your application architect as well. So that's great news. There is no additional exam for you to take. So it's like you pass that last one and you get a bonus certification. All right, I have a question here I'm going to answer really quick. The jump from the domain architect to the technical architect is steep. Will there be ways to reduce that gap? I will get to that. Yes, there are ways to reduce that gap. And additionally, the learnings, everything in these steps here, and these are all multiple choice exams, I highly recommend that you get some hands-on experience as you go. If you don't, the gap here, this little arrow, gray arrow, you might have to go back. You might have to go back, get some hands-on experience, go into these again. So if your goal is to become a certified technical architect, then definitely take the time to do these other ones slowly and make sure that you really understand the content in these. That will really, really help you. Okay, great question. And that's one of the areas we're going to address a little bit later as well. Down here, Experience Cloud is optional. Definitely will help, but knowing how to use Experience Cloud and how that would work, which objects are visible, very important in the greater path. But for these ones here in Application Architect, not necessary. On the system side, you'll see that Platform Developer 1 is the same as on the application side. So if you pass it once, obviously you don't have to pass it twice, you will get 1 check mark on each side of the pyramid, which is great. So then you'd only have these 3 left to do to get your system architect. Okay. Now, we have recently implemented, just as I'm here in the pyramid, technical architect is a 2-part process. So the first one is the Architect Review Board evaluation. And this is a shorter format of our Architect Review Board exam. I'll get into those shortly, but one is a 3-hour session with 1 CTA judge. And the other one is probably a 3-hour prep into an hour, a 45-minute presentation into a 40-minute Q&A. So all in all, it's probably a 5-hour exam for the larger exam. Okay, so I will show you the resources we have to get to that path as well. Now, definitely take some experience and some time on the platform to get there. Any questions so far on the pyramid? On the next one, so I have some great resources here. I will send Carlos this deck as well. This is a sample of what an application architect learning journey would look like, and all the resources we have for you to use if you need to. So these are all optional. If you wanted to just do your study and do your platform app builder, absolutely fine. But we have all these amazing courses in Trailhead Academy that are there to help you. So you could come here, get started with Trailhead, go into some trails. We have some classes. This is Trailhead virtual boot camps. We have also our boot camps that just started back up. We had one in DC in March. We had one at Trailblazer DX in April. We have one coming up in Berlin. So we're super excited to be back in person with the boot camps. But these are ones you can sign up for. Most of these are still available virtually as well. Here we have some other things too, like to scale, get some hands-on project work, do a certification prep, study, do some more certification prep before you actually take these. And a couple of these in here are actually programs that we run and classes that we run with all our courses in the architect group are actually run by either master instructors or CTAs or certified technical architects. So our Build Your Application Architect Expertise is run by a certified technical architect. Same thing with on this one here. Yeah, I think it's on the next slide for my 902. And I will address too the timeline we put on this. This timeline is just an example. Yours could vary, things come up, work events come up, work comes up, family comes up, holidays come up. So there's a lot. So this is just a timeline, a rough timeline of how long it could take you. It could be shorter, it could be longer. Same thing with the system. We have one similar, and there's that 902. And then the other one that is run now by CTAs and by our master instructor, Ahmed, is our ARC 101, which is Design and Build Integration Solutions. It's an in-depth course, a workshop on integration. It's fantastic. We will be adding more sessions to that as well. I think that most of them get filled up pretty quickly. Okay, so moving on, I do want to talk about this pyramid as well. So this is the certified B2C and B2B solution architect pyramid. Now you notice that some of the prerequisites here are similar. For this one here on this is exactly the same data sharing platform and app. If I go back a couple slides, it is exactly the same as our application architect. Okay, so if you complete your application architect, this means you would qualify, and this is sometimes a little tricky, in the B2C and B2B solution architect, this is actually an exam. It's a multiple choice exam. So it's not like our application and our system where you automatically get that credential. This one here, there is a physical multiple choice exam you have to take. But these are the 4 pre-qualifications that you need to have before you take that. Okay. The B2C solution architect is a little bit different. Integration architect, platform app builder, and then marketing cloud email specialist. As this one here focuses a lot more on marketing and the B2C commerce solution. Okay. And there is, this one here is just a placeholder, just saying solution architect pass. So there is no higher level than these 2 at this time. All right. Any questions so far? I will continue on my path then. All right, I'd just like to get to a little bit more into the program that we run. Our ARC 101, we launched that last year. Fantastic results so far. Everyone is loving it. Definitely an in-depth into integration. Now, this integration one is also available somewhat in the 902. 901 and 902, I'll get into a little more detail what it entails, but they are more across all, either one side of the pyramid or the other. So they're not as specific as the 101, which is in-depth integration. This one here, 901 and 902, you're going to get a sampling of integration, identity and access management. In 901, you're going to get data and sharing. So it's going to be a little bit of everything. And then we have our ARC 300, which is specifically for the B2C commerce solutions, and it's to become a B2C commerce solution architect. And then we have a CTA 601, which is the journey leading up to your certified technical architect. It talks about the evaluation. It will talk about the review board exam. It will help get you prepared in starting to do what we call more mock exams and mock scenarios, situations that customers would be in, and how to prepare you for that type of exam. So again, all the other exams that we have, the credentials, they're all multiple choice, except for the certified technical architect, which is more of a panel-based exam for both the evaluation and for the certified technical architect review board. All right, let's see here. The B2B and B2C is a good intermediate step before CTA. Yes, it is, but it focuses a lot more on commerce, and we don't focus on commerce for the certified technical architect. Right, so that is the differentiation there. Actually, all topics in B2B and B2C are cross-referenced in CTA, so people on the track to CTA usually have no trouble passing. I hope so, but if you want to like chime in, please do, and just like let's hear what your side of that, because there is no commerce focus for the certified technical architect exam. It is a platform focused exam only.
Yeah, Susan, I mean, from my experience, people on track to CTA usually also touch upon commerce a little bit. Yes, it's not the main topic in CTA area, but it's also definitely helpful, and it expands the knowledge of the platform. A lot of times, Commerce Cloud is a good solution for the client that a good architect should know to offer. So, just from my experience,
no, absolutely, and you know, I will say that people that are building up to a certified technical architect, such as yourself, like yourself, you know, the journey doesn't end, right? You keep learning. And so you're exactly right. Commerce might be the next thing you tackle and try and learn more about. Might be marketing cloud, might be vlog, you know, there's so many things that, and plus we keep buying and more companies. So there's no shortage of learning in Salesforce at all. So we'll keep developing more resources to help everybody learn the platform and make sure that we have amazing architects in the ecosystem.
Right. And also, just from my experience, the B2B and B2C really makes the effort to let you think of an architect in the broader picture. So I think it's a good intermediate step towards the CTA. Even so, marketing cloud and commerce is not part of the exam, but on the broader picture, the mindset is the right for those two exams.
Correct. Yes, and definitely I think that you should approach it that way. Now, if you are going to focus more on commerce and marketing cloud, to make sure you have that broader mindset, it definitely might take you longer. I would say, you know, the average, you know, one of the questions I get asked a lot of the time for CTA is, well, how long will it take me to get there? It's going to depend on each person, but I would say on average, you know, you have to have minimum, I would say 4 to 5 years on the platform, really understanding it and making sure that you do implementations. I hear sometimes people are very, you know, they come into Salesforce, they're like, I want to get my CTA this year. And I'm like, how, you know, you just started. Like you need a lot more experience. And as you develop that, you'll understand, you know, how you work on implementations, how there are different ways to do things, and you know, that's how you become an expert, right? That's how you become good at really understanding what is possible, what is not possible, what will work, what won't work, right? So the only way to do that is not through reading about it, it's through doing, right? So that's really important.
The more projects you do, hopefully successful, but also a failure of the project also helps to learn the better. I mean,
absolutely.
For the actual exam, after you have that 4 to 5 years of experience, you need to probably have more than 1,200 hours of invested time just in the actual exam. So, but yeah, it's also the cherry in the cake before the break.
Yes, absolutely. The more you can get, the more kind of experience and knowledge you have, I think the easier it will be, because you're going to be thinking about all those things as you approach the exams. All right, I'll just continue here. Oops, sorry. All right, so workshops, our workshops are a little different. Like I said earlier, our workshops are all run by either a master instructor, Amit Malik, or a certified technical architect. So it's very different, I find, than some of the other courses that are out there, because we really want you to, get into the class. It's usually based around a scenario, so we want you to get some hands-on experience. And that's really, really key. I think a lot of people that come out of our workshops, they really get a sense of, okay, now I know I need more experience here or there, and they actually can get in and do things, right? So definitely more of a hands-on than maybe some of our other courses that are out there. And that's what we love about it. So we take the time to find the right instructor. We take the time to find the right content. We're continually updating our content as well, making sure it is relevant. And we change it as, Salesforce transforms. We want to make sure it goes with the teaching that you need to have to be a great architect. All right, so I'm just going to get in a little bit into some of them. I think some of the questions are leaning more towards CTA, though, which is great. I'm always happy to hear that. But ARC 101, like I said, probably one of our most popular courses right now, and we're gearing up to put some more of them on the calendar. But this one here is designed for administrators or even platform developers, solution enterprise and technical architects, really to think about integration. It's also great for project managers who look to understand how integration works. So again, many different people can come to this course and really get information on understanding how things are working. Now the course module, this one here definitely has some pre-work to it. So it covers integration architecture, integration capabilities, patterns, security, advanced integration discussions, and works on a case study. So prerequisites are pretty light here. Admin credential would be your minimum, or app builder or platform developer 1, a basic Salesforce knowledge and willingness to learn about integration. Okay, so that's a light prerequisite, but we want people to understand a little bit about Salesforce, and then we're going to talk to you more in depth about integration. Now, this course available virtually, 3 days, 6 hours per day. Okay, so we try and make sure that it's not your whole day, but in this case here, it's 3 hours, and they're all in a row, and they're 6 hours per day for this one. Now, the target audience for this, anyone that wants to learn more about data migration, data synchronization, org consolidation. You have like 10 orgs and you're trying to merge them all together, or maybe a few together. How do you really look at the data? How do you really make sure that the integration is using the correct pattern, or maybe you're only bringing in partial data? So all of those topics are covered. And again, the target audience is going to be experienced administrators, platform developers, solution enterprise and technical architects, project or program managers, anyone looking to really focus on this certified integration architect credential. And this is actually one of the ARC 101 integration architect is actually one of our bootcamp courses that we offer before Trailblazer DX. Excuse me, Dreamforce. It will be available at Dreamforce as well, prior to Dreamforce for our boot camps. And Berlin, this is being offered as well.
Can I add to this?
Of course.
So on the target audience, I would really add not only product owners, but also the project managers and any sponsors that are looking, that work with Salesforce, especially before the Dreamforce, because the data migration, data synchronization, or consolidation, usually those are the most underrated actions, and people are really surprised why it's taking so long. So, yes. I mean, especially before the Dreamforce, I think the chance would be, to promote that knowledge to the broader audience, potentially people from the business can gain some insights and would also plan accordingly to that. So
yes, I agree. The target audience here can be much, much bigger. And it's really important for, any of the, stakeholders to understand how this works, right? It's definitely an important piece. I think that a successful implementation not only takes an architect, but takes, the support of the stakeholders. And if they were in a course like this, they would really understand the detail that we go into for it as well.
thank you.
I see some questions here. Are there any additional certs or paths recommended for Health Cloud, healthcare lines of service? There are some trailhead, like I'm not specifically well versed in Health Cloud, but there definitely is some trail mixes that you can take. We don't have any certifications, I don't believe so far, excuse me, for Health Cloud. But there definitely are some trails. Let me take that and see if I can look at that for you to make sure. Excuse me. Data security component comes under which certification? Just a question. As I have a tickle in my throat, I'm sorry. So that would be kind of a combination. I would put that more in sharing and visibility, because that contains all objects that need to be secure. So that's the one I would put. Excuse me. And of course, I don't have a glass of water right beside me. All right. I'm going to continue. Here we go. My cursor there. So just to recap, the value of the ARC 101 course is really mapped to the latest integration modules in Trailhead. It helps you form that architect mindset, and Amit is the master of that. So sorry. And it really helps you to maximize your success on the integration architect exam. I'm so excited all the time to hear about people that take this course at boot camps or in other places, and then they come out and they pass. So that's always exciting to see. All right, so Architect B2C Commerce Solutions. So this is different than the B2C Solution Architect or the B2B Solution Architect. A little confusing. This one here is specifically around the commerce solution. So this one here, you do need your B2C commerce developer as a prerequisite. And then this course really helps you prepare for the B2C commerce architect. So a little bit different. Sometimes people get mixed up when they're picking this course, architecting B2C commerce. Now we will be coming out with some courses later this year on the B2C solution side. So there'll be more on that shortly. Okay. So this one here, definitely, like I said, you do need the B2C commerce developer credential. Again, another path that some people decide to take. Totally great. This one here is 4 days, 8 hours per day. So a little more intense. There's a lot involved in this. So it definitely goes into discovery, design, build process, unit testing, integrations, customizations, everything that is on the commerce side. So definitely a little bit more of a commitment with 8 hours per day for 4 days. Target audience for this, use cases for you're really focused in on the e-commerce platform migration, B2C commerce implementations, designing multi-site or multi-region solutions, including commerce, and the target audience, you can see all different types of architects, but definitely the B2C commerce developers, technical directors, anyone that's going to be the owner or design of quality implementations for commerce, and anyone looking to get this credential. All right, I'm seeing if there's any other questions. None yet. Value of ARC 300, gain knowledge, maximize your success on the exam. And we definitely need more B2C commerce architects. It's not enough in the ecosystem. Definitely can include more there. All right, I'm looking at the time. I want to make sure I have time for questions as well. But build your application and expertise ARC 901 and ARC 902 for your system. So looking at those two sides of the pyramid. And so application, all you need is your app builder. And there is pre-work for the workshop. So we send you pre-work before to do, and that really helps you with the course. So highly recommend that if you're in the course, definitely do the pre-work. Another thing too, with all these courses, make sure that you are engaged. You'll get the most out of it if you're asking questions or you're presenting. Don't be shy. There's usually about 14, up to 14 people in all of these workshops. So there's not going to be a ton of people. It gives you a great opportunity to kind of present something, get comfortable with presenting if you haven't in the past. So definitely get involved. This one here is a little bit different, 4 days, 4 hours per day, making sure that you have, breaks in your day. So this is a great class just to kind of, usually this one here is in the afternoon, or sometimes it's in the morning. So it allows you to kind of break your day up a little bit. And then the 902, this one here is platform developer one. So this one here is focused more on the right-hand side of the pyramid, which is the integration, identity management, and I believe, what was the other one? Development lifecycle as well. Same thing, 4 days, 4 hours per day, working, experience working with integration projects, or if you've done the ARC 101, this is great. If you're working on OAuth or connected apps, another great focused area. Of course, the value, all our courses are taught by CTAs, helps you maximize your success on the application and system. Now, these don't go in depth for each exam, so definitely there should be supplemental focus with Trailhead on this as well. And this one here is great too, because I think it will allow you to find out if there's a direction you want to take, because we cover multiple topics in the 4 days. So maybe you are deciding that you want to go down and be a data architect or an integration specialist architect. So it helps you really understand the different areas and if you want to pursue one over the other too. And then the last one we have in our series right now, I'm so excited, we're going to have many more, but 601, this one here we changed recently to include the evaluation. So this one here, you need your application and your system. And it is a workshop designed for those that have both. And so everyone in the course, in the workshop, was really at that stage right now. Some may take longer to get to CTA than others, but you're all at the same kind of starting point. This one here, 3 hours per day, very short, but you're going to get some hands-on experience. You have homework at night. You're going to be drawing data models. You're going to be drawing system landscapes from scenarios. You're going to try and read through a scenario and try and put a data model together. So that's the type of practice that we were talking about earlier, that the hands-on is so important. So all of the previous ones that you did in application and system, now you're going to put those all together and come up with these models and come up with a talk track and how you're going to present, let's say, to your audience, which is a customer. All right, the value CTA, again, taught by CTAs, but really you're going to not only, each one of the CTAs is different. They present this workshop differently. And what I love about it is that, you're getting their best practices, what they've experienced, tips from them. And it's really a great cohort to work with too. Everyone else on the same journey. Most people actually connect and start studying together, running through scenarios together. So it's a fantastic way to meet others on a journey globally. Most of these workshops, I would probably guess that we have someone from every region in here. And this one here, really the focus is understanding that jump or that gap, like you explained, is understanding the difference between a multiple choice exam, right? And just picking an answer, A, B, or C, or D, and then now you have to verbalize it and say why you're picking this, why you recommend this, and trying to be concise with your words and not go on for like 10 minutes. But if you have only like 3 minutes to say something, how do you respond in a way that's concise, that gets the point across, and you're still solving the problem? So it's a combination of technical skills as well as presentation skills. I have the slide up here. Do you guys have any questions so far?
Well, I hope this is not too bad, but for the CTA, one of the gaps for me is the price. Is there any changes to that, or like vouchers that could potentially be helpful for the review board?
Yeah, so for the price, let me go into the next step here. So like I said, back in July of last year, we actually switched it around. So the evaluation is $1,500. Now, if you don't know who your training account executive is, every company has a training account executive or someone we can point you to see if there's any discounts or any vouchers available. So we broke it down into more consumable. So this is $1,500 for the evaluation. And let me just skip forward for a second. And then the architect review board is now $4,500. So the reason it's so expensive, again, it's not a multiple choice exam. This is actually in front of a panel of 3 CTAs that I need their time each for about 3 hours. So it's a very heavy resource intense exam, as well as the evaluation. So that's the reason why we have the cost is at that level. But definitely, if you want, if you want to just either send me a message, tell me which company you're with, I can find out who your training account executive is and see if there's anything that will be available.
Thank you. I think I'm first going to try the CTA course, see how that goes.
Absolutely. And even with that as well, you might want to talk to a training account executive. Sometimes there are discounts available for the course as well. Okay. So no other questions right now, I don't think. There is one. Why other cloud certifications like revenue experience is not included for technical architect? I'm not sure I understand the question. Would you like to come off mute and explain it to me?
Sure, Susan. Actually, being a technical architect, we need to have hands-on and other clouds like revenue, experience cloud as well. Like the graph or the delta chart which you showed is not included like any certifications with specific to cloud, like CPQ or cloud. Like, is there any special reason like that?
No, so this is a platform focused exam. So in our exam guide, we focus more on like integration and data and security, so kind of the pillars, like the key pillars. Now, as was mentioned before, the more knowledge you have, the better, right? So it would never be focused on a like health cloud, because that is a very specific path. Not everybody would have knowledge on, let's say, a health cloud background or have knowledge of the healthcare industry. So it would be unfair for us to kind of put that in a scenario for this exam. So it is focused more on platform. And now that background of revenue or any other cloud certifications definitely help you if the scenario is, it leans towards that way, but it would never be focused on, it's going to be more of a general scenario. We don't focus on cloud specific scenarios. So you'd never see anything that was focused on, a health cloud or a financial cloud, anything like that would not focus on. It would definitely be platform focused, because we want to make sure that you can help implement the overall platform, not these specific clouds necessarily. Now, it is growing. Obviously, we can't expand the exam to, you know, to include everything, because I think the exam will be super long. It's already quite long as it is. So we will be looking to add more architect, you know, credentials that would focus on things like that. So you can think of those as additive, you know, credentials that you could hold.
Thank you, sir. Yeah.
Does that help?
Yes, thank you so much.
You're welcome. You're welcome. I definitely want to talk about the architect evaluation a little bit, but this is a great way to, we were having so many people come and as you said previously, Jody, like it's expensive, right? It's a lot of money. We were finding people were just going, yeah, I'm just going to pay to go to this certification, and they were nowhere near ready. So this evaluation is fantastic. It really helps people understand if they're ready to move on to the next stage. Also, it helps us really focus on the people that are ready. As I said earlier, you know, we have a lot of resources tied up in the review board exam. So we want to make sure that we're sending the right people there. And not just because they want to spend the money, because they actually know and are ready for it. So I think of this as like the pre-trials for the Olympics. If you're ready to go, what happens is you get feedback from us on this. You get a pass or a fail. And when you pass this, we then schedule your review board exam in 2 to 4 months. That gives you the time to look over your feedback. You're going to get written feedback. You're going to have time to talk to the CTA a little bit. You're going to be able to kind of digest everything. And then you have that 2 to 4 months to kind of fine tune your training, fine tune your prep. And then you get your date and you attend the review board exam. For those that don't pass, it's not terrible. It basically will give you written feedback on how you can prepare to be ready. And so you would have to wait 6 months before you can take the exam again, the evaluation, because that is the prerequisite for the review board exam. So you must wait 6 months, re-sign up for this, and then you would then take it again. Now, all our exams, second attempt is like any other certification, it's 50% off. So you would never have to pay that amount again. It would be 50% off the price. Okay. And this one here is a one-on-one. So you can ask at the end of this is like a mock exam, similar to the final exam, but you're working with a CTA. Most of them that you're working with are judges for the final exam as well. So you're getting that knowledge. They're there to help you prepare the right way. And here's just some of the value of it. Like it's one-on-one. A lot of people don't have a CTA they can just ask questions to. So this is a fantastic opportunity. We have definitely seen an increase in candidate success at the review board exam once they have taken this. They're really getting that validation that they're doing the right steps, and you get that written feedback as well. And then we have our final one too. So this one is available. It's a panel-based exam with 3 judges. I would say your scenario, the length of scenario, just so you know, from the evaluation to the review board, this is probably a 2 to 3 page scenario. This is more like an 8 to 12 page scenario. But the difference is you have 3 hours to figure this one out. You have 1 hour to figure the other one out. So definitely different in the length, in the complexity, in the in what you have to produce for documents as well. So a little bit different, but that's where the 601 is fantastic. It really goes into both sides. And I see a question here, seems similar to a doctorate defense advisor. Yes, it does. It's very much like a thesis presentation where you're presenting to the customer on which solution which you recommend. Some of the things I hear at the review board as well, sometimes We get partners that typically maybe they're offering their customers today in their real jobs options. Okay, customer A, you have option A, B, or C. Well, as a certified technical architect, we want you to be the expert, the one that they trust 100%. So we actually, in the 601, we would probably say, don't give options because you are the experts. We want you to give your recommendation and why. So basically for this exam and for the evaluation, there's a requirement. You have to provide your recommendation. You have to justify why you selected it, and then make sure it ties back to the overall situation the customer's in today. So making sure that you're covering any risks today or in the future, making sure that it makes sense for that customer to do it that way. It's not always going to be perfect. So that's why I said earlier, it's like a puzzle. It's like they want to keep this system. You don't really want to keep it. You're like, they should get rid of it, but they have told you they want to keep it. So there could be some recommendations you have that are not optimal because they have kept other things. So it's really a matter of figuring out what the best approach is going to be for this customer, making sure it's scalable, maintainable, and that they have a very successful implementation. Okay. I do also have additional resources. So there is tons out there. We have an architect overview. There's a CTA exam guide. There's certified technical architect credential information. There's the architect trailblazer site that we have that has tons of information. Also in connection with the architect relations team, they have the architect website. There's an architect blog. They have a Twitter handle and a LinkedIn as well. So there's so much information. And I know the architect relations team has been working so hard to help, start these new architect groups. I'm so excited because back in the day when I was a user group, when I was a customer and I ran the Nashville user group, I was so, I didn't know how to start the architect group because it was like developer/architect/admin. So I'm so excited to see this. It's finally like coming to life. And you have a great resource like Carlos, leading it. So I'm really excited that you're going to have all this information, and he's lining up so many great speakers for you to talk about all this content that you have. And as we grow, you'll see more and more resources from us. What I love to do is when I'm, watching a course and I'm looking for areas or gaps that we need to have more resources. That's how we develop more courses or more sessions at Dreamforce, or if I have to come and explain something. We have open architect office hours every other week. Our team hosts them for 30 minutes and you can ask any question you want. There's no such thing as a silly question. So, you can come to those as well. Question, will the CTA 601 class offer in-person sessions in the future? Not the only one. Now they are offering and so that was that's a 2-day in-person event. And when we had them in person, it would be 2 days in various locations all over the world, actually. So we did them in London, we did them in, I've done them, let's see, Chicago, San Francisco, DC, New York, and where else did we do one? I think we were planning Dallas as well. But yeah, we did them all over the place. And typically they're in Salesforce offices. So that's why we usually pick the ones that have the larger spaces. Great question though. And same thing with the exams, where the evaluation will always be virtual. It's just easier that way. But the review board, again, if you can imagine doing a thesis presentation on a Zoom call, very different than being in person. So I have a lot of people that are really looking forward to coming back in person. So we're going to do it slowly this year. I'm planning on doing one in Amer in August and one in London in October. So slowly, as people get more comfortable, I anticipate that we'll probably have the judges will all be in person. I might not have everybody that are candidates wanting to come in person, but eventually I hope to see more and more. So as we get back out of COVID, I think that's I'm looking forward to that. Everyone is, I think. All right, I'm at the top of the hour, but I'm happy to answer any other questions you have. Let me go through and make sure I had anything else. The resources, yeah. That is all I had. But any other questions I can answer for you on the path, on any architect path, I'm happy to do. And you can just take yourself off mute if you'd like as well.
Hello.
Hello, how are you?
Good, and yourself?
I'm good, thanks.
Good. Maybe a little bit, not necessarily on the path, but on the role of architect. Does Salesforce see architect as a role that has a lot to do with managing people or projects versus being more on the technical and straight solutioning side?
I think it depends on the company, which role you're going to be in. I think we talked about credentials here, but yes, the role is many different things. I think, and you'll see that in the ecosystem as well. On LinkedIn, people will call themselves architects. What that means in one company may not mean the same in another company. I think of it more as if you're a technical architect, you're going to be getting more into the details. You're going to be getting more into the functionality, probably being the expert, the trusted resource that can explain things to a CEO, CTO, or to the stakeholders for an implementation. Understanding the back end. So I would also say you definitely don't need to be a coder, like a developer, but you need to understand how it works, why you would use that versus a declarative functionality. So I see it more on the technical side, where you would kind of come in and maybe review a project to make sure they're on the right path with something, rather than you could be, I guess, a project manager, like overseeing a technical crew, but I think it would be more on the advisory side, depending on the project. There's some architects that run the entire project from A to Z, and some that just oversee and make sure that things are running smoothly. So I think it just depends. The role is still, I think, from company to company, very different.
Okay, good to know. Thank you.
Question. Sorry, I hope this is not like breaking safe harbor, but would we see like in the future the step above consultant for the various clouds? I think that was referenced earlier. So like a sales cloud architect or service cloud architect, and kind of material and trailhead that shows Salesforce as a part of a larger system, and we just have will be tested on how to incorporate the various clouds with other tools.
So I'm not sure that there would be a sales cloud architect, because you're kind of it gets mixed up with the cloud versus the certification, because there's a lot of things that we do and we use Sales Cloud for, or Service Cloud. So a lot of the platform functionality, sales and service, are included in CTA. So not necessarily a specific certification, but our certification team does make sure that any credential that is launched doesn't have any doesn't really go across another one that we already have out there, because we wouldn't want to confuse, everyone. Well, wait a minute, this is the same as this or similar to that. So they would be in charge of anything, any other credentials. I personally don't see a Sales Cloud architect credential coming. That could change, right? It's always safe harbor. It's always like forward-looking statement. But I definitely see that there would be more of a transformational architect, or somebody that can go across clouds. But that's really what the B2C solution ones are. They're more cross cloud, and they more incorporate different types of clouds together. And that's a big growing need in the ecosystem today. A lot of our customers have many clouds, and they don't know how they all work together, right? So CTA and the architect path we're showing you is the base, right? Is the pillars of the key foundational information you need to know. And then we layer on the rest, right? We would layer on, marketing cloud architect, hopefully in the future, or I don't know if sales and service though. Maybe, but I'm not sure. But yeah, there will be more coming with the different types of architects. I can definitely see that happening. We just have to be careful on what a credential is designed to do, and how that would help the ecosystem as well.
Okay, thank you. And I want to say I do like or appreciate the architect blog and website. I think it has very useful material, and it helps conversations at work.
Oh, absolutely. No, it's really fantastic. They've done a fantastic job with those blogs, and I recommend that for anybody. Like that's a blog you need to follow. Their content is fantastic. So yes, we align more on the resource, the learning of the actual functionality, but great conversations. And that's why I love architecture, because it is a lot of conversations, different ways to do it. Like I said earlier, different ways to look at things, and it'll change, right? Things will change, things will, we'll come up with something different or new, and then it'll kind of change the narrative again. So it's always this journey. If any architect journey you're on, any Salesforce journey you're on, is going to be a learning journey, because you're going to continue to learn more things as we come up with new products, new clouds. It's going to be another thing to learn. So if you have that great base, that's where you're going to, as you add things on, you're going to be like, okay, now I understand this, and now this makes sense on how this is going to work. Okay, now I can do this. So it is a continual journey until you know everything about the Salesforce ecosystem. It's definitely fun, never boring, never for a lack of something to read. Are there any application or system architects on the call? Or Chris, I think you are, correct? Oh, good, you are as well.
Yes.
Awesome. Great. Yes, and I encourage you, if you come across anybody that is, doesn't really understand the process, and you have a little bit more of an understanding, definitely help them out. We're trying to make sure that everyone has all the resources on Architect for Salesforce as possible. So again, I'm super excited that a group like this exists, and I'm seeing more pop up in different areas. So really exciting. Does anyone have any other questions for me? I will.
Yes, I do.
Go ahead.
So I know you said you would follow up with regards to the Health Cloud specific questions. Do you know when you think you'll most likely be able to follow up, and what I should do to circle back with you?
Yes, I've actually just
that?
put my email in the chat window for you. It's suzanne.ferguson@salesforce.com. And definitely ping me a note. I will probably take a day or so to get back to you on that. But any other
Awesome. Thank you
questions
so much. I
have?
appreciate it.
Oh, no problem. Any other questions you have, please let me know. If you go to the Architect Trailblazer community, on the right-hand side, there is actually our office hours, and Zane, one of our amazing folks on the team, she usually posts all the office hour information. So definitely follow that. And that's just going to be everything regarding, any architect journey that we have, all the events we have going on, anything like that. It's going to be in that community. But I'm more than happy to answer any other question you have. Again, no such thing as a silly question. So I'm happy to do that. So just send me a note, connect with me. It's no problem whatsoever. I'm happy to help. All right, does anyone have any last words before I can let you go a little earlier?
Okay.
All right, well, I'm sorry.
No, I wanted to thank you. I think Carlos already dropped off. So Chatoya,
Yes.
do you have any questions? I mean, someone raised a hand.
Oh, sorry, that was a wave.
Ah, there was.
Thank you. No, yes, Carlos has dropped. So definitely tune into his next session. I'm sure he's going to have another great speaker and to help you all discover more architect content. So definitely, I'm super excited. I'm going to be following him. He's got a lot of great content in here. So again, if any questions that I can help you with, please let me know.
Thanks, Susan. It was a great presentation.
You're welcome. Thank you all.
Thank you, guys.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you all.